Hi. Oh my god, you're there. I'm here. We're here together. Oh my god, this is crazy. So do I just start, I guess? Okay. Hi. I'm Kayla. And I'm not prepared because I'm not signed in. God dang. Hi. I'm Kayla. And this is my new podcast that I created last night and that I wrote the script for this morning. So let's hope it goes right. So last night, like many other 20-year-olds, I was spiraling about what I wanted to do for my life, etc., etc. The only real answer, of course, was to make a podcast. So here I am. Yeah. Honestly, the expectation of knowing exactly what you want to do by the ages of like 18 in your early 20s is mentally ill, bruv. There's no way that people actually expect us to be able to do that. And personally, as someone who's kind of like a jack of all trades type of person, I can do like a lot of things. I can't do them well, but I can do them. Like I love writing, dancing, singing, drawing, right? I have so many interests. It's like, how can I ever just pick one? And so right now, I'm kind of trying to figure out how I can navigate that. And then it's like, what if you what if I don't like that in the end after all? 4 years of school down the drain for something that I thought I was going to like, and just the heavy decision weighs on me. 2 years into college, it's weighing on me, and right now it's kind of starting to crush me. Um so all these thoughts about school, about life, about everything, it's getting the procrastination engine going, if you get what I mean. I i can't. Like, I'm so like I just procrastinate everything because I cannot like focus on school or on my future, because that's what's coming up. The fact that the fall semester is starting in like less than a week or 2 weeks, it's like, where'd the summer go? I was supposed to figure all this shit out in the summer, and instead I just worked my ass off and avoided it, and then used working two jobs as an excuse. Perfect! But needless to say, this podcast is for people who feel like they're in too deep. I know, I know. You like what I did there? Uh huh. So hopefully this podcast can be like a breath of fresh air, that allows us to put our foot on the brake every now and again, and just kind of take a deep breath without feeling like you're drowning all the time. So now, if you're wondering, Kayla, this kind of just sounds like you're giving yourself a really big task to avoid the inevitable, which is that you're going back to school next week. I would say shut up. Because that's exactly what I'm doing. Okay. Yeah, this is definitely another form of me procrastinating the inevitable. But that is neither here nor there. Okay. Okay. So, for the very first episode, I thought it would be really fun to dive into my thought process last night as I was creating a podcast. Um, so yeah, basically, I was going through this whole spiel in my head about how there's so many career paths. How can I ever choose just one? And then I started, kind of Googling certain careers that I might be interested in. Maybe I could like connect the dots and pick something somewhere in the middle. But then I realized very shortly after that there are over billions of different types of jobs. Okay, there are so many different types of jobs. You can take any two things in the world, put that put that together, and that is someone's job. Okay, no matter how dumb, no matter how minor, no matter how extensive you think this job is, someone is doing it. And that didn't go well for me and my anxiety last night. So I started trying to take baby steps and kind of figure out just like, what do I like? what career can I possibly tolerate? What can I, like, let's start baby. What can I tolerate? No, I'm not saying that I'm going to get this job tomorrow. I'm just saying, what can I tolerate? What is a job that I think that I can do? Just writing down my interests. Um, and amongst this list was content creation, which I've been wanting to do for a while. But it's just that I feel like short form content, which is so popular now. Everyone's making TikToks, everyone's making reels, everyone's making shorts. It felt overwhelming. The fact that you need to catch someone's attention in less than like 3 seconds, and then your video needs to be 30 seconds, that that got me. Okay? Because obviously I'm an overthinker. And I'm a yapper, bro. Love talking. So the fact that I had to like fit, everything that I needed to say or the things that I needed to do into like a 20-second video, it was like, dude, I can't do this. And then also it's like I wanted to start making like day in the life content, right? And yesterday I tried to film it, and I was recording these little like tasks in my day, and then I would forget to record something. And I had so much anxiety about the fact that I forgot to record something. I'm like, so what's gonna go there now? Are they gonna think that I'm freaking a dirty bum because I didn't show them that I was taking a shower? So like, hey, relax. Maybe that just isn't for you right now. Um, maybe that isn't for you. Maybe you need to kind of learn the lay of the land, be comfortable making videos of any time frame, however long or short you want to do them, and kind of figure it out from there. So that's what I started doing. Um, yeah, because the fast paced trends and thumbnails, it was just a lot for me. But podcasts, they can or YouTube videos in general, they could vary from, freaking 10 minutes to an hour. And I love the thought of having that flexibility in content creation, not being rushed, not being put in a time frame. So I decided that I would try to make a podcast. Um, and I know that everyone is kind of making podcasts now. Everyone and their freaking mom has a podcast. But I truly think that the reason why some people have a more successful podcast is just simply because their personality and vibe just fits the long form content better. It just fits it, right? Anyone can talk for like an hour. But if you're not used to talking for hours on end, like I can go on about anything. Don't test me. I could. Okay? I could go on about anything for as long as I so choose. So I was like, podcast, perfect. And there's a lot of other people that can do that too. People that it just comes to them like on time. Like it just comes. It just rolls into an entire hour long conversation about nothing. Everything and nothing all at once. And so I thought I should try my hand at that. Okay? So, as for the name of the podcast, thank God for generators, am I right? Am I right? Um, well, I was stuck. Okay? I was stuck. I don't really have any like quirks or really cool niches like fitness or like actual like like a specific field of art or singing or talent, I kind of just do whatever I want whenever I want. No, I'm kidding. But I kind of do though. Like in a way I kind of do. I just like kind of do whatever. Um so like if I like something, I'll do it, and then if I don't want to do it anymore, I'll stop. So I haven't really perfected any fields. Not really into comedy. So that there's that. Um and I'm obviously very indecisive because I have not switched schools even though I hate my major and have hated my major all of last year. Um, so to help with brainstorming a podcast name, I took some inspo from podcasts that I love and just ones that I really like the name of. So, for example, The Basement Yard, which is my favorite podcast ever. If you ever see me walking around with a dog sucking season t shirt, don't fucking shame me. Excuse my potty mouth, but literally, don't shame me because they're the coolest people ever, and every season is hot dog sucking season. Okay? Then there's Pretty Lonesome with Madeline Augie. Love You Down. That podcast is, I love. She is who I'm talking about when going on for like 30 minutes to an hour about everything and nothing all at once, and I love it. Okay, those like tough talks that she sometimes like puts out, right? Sometimes she's just ranting about anything and everything, but there are sometimes that she has like really niche like research that she did, or findings that she found about a specific uh pop culture trend or something, something really interesting, which I love both of those videos, right? And then the same thing is same to say with like Joey and Frank from The Basement Yard. They can really talk about really anything and everything for a really long time, and the fact that they can make you laugh is just like, it's the best. So I always look forward to their Monday videos. But as I was saying, yeah, and those are really successful podcasts. Like, they have over millions of followers, and rightfully so. They totally deserve it. They're amazing. Also Saving Grace, which I found out about because The Basement Yard had a collab with her. I love her name. Okay, I haven't watched much of her videos, but I love her name. I love it. Saving Grace. Her name is Grace. But you know what I'm saying? I love that. Like, that was just such a really cool thing that she did there. I don't know how she came up with that name, but I love it. And then this name actually came up when I was generating names. Um it was like, what now? And or it was something along those lines, and I took that as what now, and I really really like that because obviously in the stage of my life right now, that is the exact question that I ask myself every day. Okay, so what now? I went on YouTube and I searched up all of my podcast names that I had, and what now is already taken by Trevor Noah, which rightfully deserved. You can't argue with Trevor Noah. He is the man of every hour. Okay, so I took those names and kind of started to come up with similar names based on those names. Okay, but also making it personal to me and what I wanted to accomplish here on YouTube, or my podcast. I kind of wanted to have this be a safe space like Madeline Argy, but some place that you can laugh, like with Joey and Frank. Some place that you can embrace your femininity, like Saving Grace. And but you can also be just a freaking dirty little hot dog like Joey and Frank. And yes, I called them hot dogs. What about it? Okay, so yeah, like I was like, how am I gonna do that? And so I kept on just regenerating names, and something that I really liked was the word two. Like uh like let me look at my list here. Okay, and yeah, this was, what is this? Oh, some uh finance that I did on the back of this paper. Um so like, Too Far Gone, loved that name. I think that was probably taken. Um and Too Blank. I liked Too Blank. Like a lot of the times I feel like we're told that we're too much of this. At least for me, I felt like that. So I wanted to include it here. Um, what I didn't really like was um the blank, right? Oh, by the way, speaking of blank, that was actually going to be the name. It was going to be to blank, right? Because then I figured that everyone can kind of put in what they think that blank means to them, and it could be very personal to whichever viewer is watching. But I'll get into a little bit later why I didn't like the to blank thing. So I'll get into that a little bit later. So then it was like a kind when I put in the generator of like the names that I did like of podcasts, I put in the basement yard, of course. I if you didn't know, Joey was originally making videos in his basement, and then his mom, I think, ended up saying, "Yo, it's like the basement yard or something." Like, for I don't really remember the actual um conversation that came up between him and his mom, but she ended up saying basement yard, and he was like, "Yo, I like that." So bam, they became the basement yard, and I actually have a lot of posters in my room, so I was thinking the poster room, but I actually hate my posters, and I couldn't deal with possibly making my brand be posters, and I hated them so much. Like, I tried to go for like a movie theater um vibe in my room with like all the posters, but I didn't have any of them framed, so they were literally just posters on my wall. And something happened when I turned 20, and I just walked into my room and I was like, this sucks. This looks absolutely terrible. And I'm looking at the remainder of the posters that I did leave up because they are pretty cool. Like, I have the Rick and Morty up, the Futurama one, and the Batman one. But if you don't see like certain valuables that I have that, is like very like obviously girl, like girl, duh. Like, if you don't see my makeup like bucket thing that I have there, or like my little what is that? My little like makeup brushes, like, you would think that this is a boys' room. And I hated that. I really hate that. So, and yeah, like, also my favorite color is like green, dark green, forest green. I love it. That's hence why my blankets are that color, and everything, almost everything in my room is green, which I love that. But it was just the darkness on top of the posters. It just made me feel like a little boy's room. And I think, like, as I've been getting older, I kind of have been growing out of like my, oh my god, pink is ugly. Like, I don't know why I was like that as a kid, but I really was. I was like, ew, she's wearing a skirt in gym? Nah, bro. Like, push up contest, I'm there. Like, I was just a little boy for some reason. And I could not tell you why I was like that. I don't know. Like, for some reason, it like me and my sisters would argue about whose favorite color was blue or not. Like, and somebody, like, I think my little sister, one day she slipped up and she said her favorite color was pink. I was like, oh yeah, your favorite color is pink. I thought it was blue. I thought it was blue. And I was like, why was I such a little boy? And I was just so scared of like embracing femininity. And I've started doing that in my like late teens. I started becoming more like that, because then my early teens I was like hardcore emo, right? So, I wasn't really embracing any type of masculinity or femininity. It was just kind of um all black emo ness. Um and then, I started getting into high school, and I kind of realized like I like bright colors, and I enjoy, dressing colorfully, dressing nicely. And then in college, I started seeing so many more like really, really strong but really, really feminine people. And, just learning over the years that femininity, like being independent and like having certain traits does not is does not get categorized into masculinity and femininity. You can be strong-willed, independent, um, like have a lot of leadership skills, and you can be very, very feminine. That is not indifferent, or that cannot be interchanged really. if those are the correct words. I don't know. So yeah, like I kind of have been embracing my femininity a lot more. And so when I walk into this room and I just get little boy, it bothers me a lot. So yeah, I couldn't imagine my brand being the poster room or posters. And I don't like it. Like I think that name is really it's really cool. It's like it's dope, right? And if you want to start a podcast and you have a bunch of posters in your room, you snuggle up in that corner, get yourself a beanbag and you just chat. That's great. It just wasn't for me. And then we had um Too Far Gone. I liked that one. I think I said that already. It was either Taken or it was a little depressing, honestly, which we will get into. Um, Pretty Loud and or Pretty and Loud, because I am a loud person and I have been told that on numerous occasions. But I think we will talk about that again a little bit later. Why I didn't like that, and then it was All the Good. I think that was Taken. I don't know. And yeah, and then it was In Too Deep. So then after I kind of brainstormed these names, I had just like this feeling that like it was just in this list somewhere. I had this like feeling that maybe I should start playing around with a logo, some type of like print, like when you watch podcasts and there's like a little like a little like square or like a little like if you watch Madeline Argy's podcast. Oh, I'm sorry if I'm hitting the mic, but I'm trying to like cover up a little bit. So if you watch like Madeline Argy's podcast, like she has like a little like pretty lonesome rainbow with her name in the middle. So like something to put at the corner of my screen, something that is like, my brand. When you see it, you think of me, right? So I turned to Canva and I was kind of just playing around with some of the names. I played around with Way Too Loud, Too Loud, um, and I was playing around with it and I started kind of thinking about more so what that means to me. And it brought back a lot of really, really negative memories, not to get too deep on this on this intro podcast, Ep.1 starter podcast, okay? Maybe save that for episode 6. Okay. But yeah, not to get too depressed or espresso, but like it brought back a lot of really negative memories for me. As far as being told that I was too loud. Um, my laugh is just inherently very loud, and yeah, of course, like I'm not. It's kind of discretionally. Like if I know, like at a dinner, right? At dinner, I'm not right. I'm not doing all that. Like at dinner or like at a serious event, I'm not like belly laughing. But my genuine laugh is like a loud, just loud laugh. Like it just comes from my soul. And honestly, I love it. I love my laugh. I think that it's funny. Sometimes it changes up and I could hear like different family members in my laugh. Like sometimes I laugh like my older sister, sometimes I laugh like my younger sister. She kind of does this like and so I kind of like hear myself doing every now and again. Sometimes I snort if I'm just like really, really laughing. Like my laugh is loud, okay? Um, and so like sometimes people would say like, "Why are you laughing like that?" Or like, "Why are you laughing fake like that?" Fake. And so like being that like kind of getting shut down when I was having a really joyous moment, it kind of just made me crawl into like my own like a little turtle shell kind of, and it kind of took away any like fun or happiness that I was having in that moment because people commented on the way that I laughed or the way that I was talking. And um that made me kind of want to just hide forever. And like I think yes, sometimes I can get loud during situations that normally you shouldn't, like accidentally, but that shows my like enthusiasm about something. So if I really do get loud, like it's because I'm having a lot of fun and because like I'm, really enjoying myself around you. And so like when people hit me with the, "Oh my god, you're being so loud," or "Shh," when I get shushed, I will never talk to you again. If you shush me, I will never talk to you again. So that brought back a lot of like negativity for me, a lot of like um just really bad feelings. And again, I just wanted to preface like I'm not like this during situations that you need to be quiet. Like I'm not an obnoxious person. I do understand that there's some certain times for each thing, right? But if we're just hanging out as a group of friends, or if I'm just hanging out with my family and I'm laughing, why am I getting shushed? Why am I getting judged, right? For being too loud. And yes, I could have taken this too loud and like turned it into something positive. Um, but to be honest, there was just a lot more negative emotions towards it than what would become positive. Because honestly, like I said, I do have a way of knowing when to be loud and when not to be. And most of the times when I'm by myself, I'm not that loud. So I just felt like it didn't really suit the podcast as I would be by myself the majority of the time. I don't really. I mean, maybe if I get more comfortable, like I'll hit you with one of those Quinlan Blackwell screams, okay? But I just don't see myself like tweaking out on here or like just yelling. I just felt like it was just a little too much negative feelings and emotions to put on a podcast that I don't think would even have anything to do with that. So yeah. Um yeah. But what I did like, so let's kind of backtrack a little bit. But what I did like about Way Too Loud was I had this idea, or like Too Loud, I had this idea to put in like um lines coming out of the O. Like, like I don't know if you've ever seen like a person, like a someone calling someone in like a comic book, or like maybe like some type of art. I feel like when you call someone, like even like on your phone, kind of you have the volume sign. It has those like three lines. I thought it would be such a cool idea to have like the lines coming out of the O to resemble, loudness, volume. And I think it looks really cute, but I didn't really like it. um so then I started playing around with In Too Deep. And I didn't really feel it at first because I was like, I think it kind of goes a little bit. I wanted it to have like a positive name, right? Or like nothing that was too serious or too negative that made you like, the existential podcast. I don't know if that's a real podcast, so I should probably shut up. But like something that like really like was so serious and that really made you start thinking about stuff. Like I didn't pause. No. Okay, I just wanted something fun, wanted something that I can play with. So I felt like In Too Deep was a little, deep, So I was playing with it, but and then I remembered when I was playing with Canva, there was this like little oval. It's like, can I make it like a hole and then put In Too Deep in the hole, right? And so I started playing with it and it looked a little weird. but I added another one of those ovals on the a little bit bigger on the behind it. So I have the black oval and then the brown oval underneath it. And it kind of resembled like a little muddy hole. And then I put the In Too Deep in that hole. And like I loved it. I loved it. I thought it was so cute and like simple. Basically like I was really aiming for something that kind of gave me like a minimalist vibe, right? Because I didn't want anything too cluttered or whatever. Um but I also wanted something colorful and something that was creative and something that was very personal to me. So when I found that little muddy hole, I was like, or when I made the little muddy hole, I was like, yes, I freaking love that, bro. I love that. So yeah, I kept playing with it a little bit. And then I saw, I think it was by the same creator that made those ovals. I like, you can press like info and then see more like this on Canva for the stickers. And so I went and I saw this little cat, and I just needed that little kitty cat. And I was like, I used to have a cat. Her name was Brooklyn, and she passed away a couple years ago. Not to get all, you know, sad, but she did pass away a couple of years ago. And her name was Brooklyn, and I was like, I mean, I can't have Brooklyn without Leo, which was my dog that passed away like a year later. I know, shitty luck. I know. I just couldn't believe it. Like, I was like, damn, my cat, then my dog, I can't catch a break. So I freaking I put little paws next to the cat because I couldn't find a dog with the same art style. So I put little paw prints on next to the cat, which resembles Leo. So you got Leo, Brooklyn, and then my kind of logo thing. Um, so needless to say, right? Like, ironically, actually, this podcast, this logo that I made for this podcast, it it was the first time that I designed something on Canva and that I made something that I was truly proud of and that made me genuinely excited, right? It was something that it is something that I take a lot of pride in that I made. Um, and it just felt like such a victory to me because I feel like I finally broke into the creative space. And I feel like I finally was able to be a creative in some type of way, right? Because when I look back to my childhood and me dancing and then me stop dancing at like 13 and then never going back and then going back when I was 16 or 17. No, I think I was 18. I went back when I was 18 and then I quit 3 months later. Or how like right now I'm taking singing lessons, but like I'm really bad at practicing, and then I feel like I'm really struggling to get over that ego block of not so much sounding good but making sure that your voice feels good. um it's like every time I sing, I just if I don't sing it well, I get really upset with myself and I just stop. And then as far as like um I feel like, oh, art, right? Like I don't know if you guys remember, but there's because you should. There's this artist, yeah, and creator on YouTube named Drawing with Waffles, and she makes a lot of beautiful art and a lot of awesome content. And I used to watch her along with Jazza when I was younger, and I made my mom buy me a Scrawler Box subscription because of her, and them. And I was subscribed for that for like 4 or 5 months. And then eventually I stopped drawing and I was like, well, I don't need all, these art supplies coming every month anymore if I'm not even drawing with them. So then I stopped with that too. And every now and again I'll pick up a pencil and paper and open one of my many freaking sketchbooks. But it never really sticks. It's something that I find myself getting tired of and kind of getting bored with, not really willing to improve at all. So that's another thing that I feel like I started and then gave up with. Um, and so I felt like I was a creative, but I just didn't know what to create, right? I didn't know what type of creative I would be, and I still don't. And so recently I've been kind of interested in like design, graphic design, marketing, advertising, but like the creative side of it, like being hands-on and creating those advertisements and being in the room, where it happens. Hamilton pun, okay? Get on that. All right, September 5th, I think, or 6th. What is it that it's coming out in theaters? Oh, I'm so excited. But yeah, so um like I was just I finally felt like I broke into that creative space. Granted, my logo was not impressive by any means. It's not an impressive skill that I, took a couple stickers from Canva and then put a title in the middle of it, and with a font that was already pre-made for me. Like there's and I just picked the color schemes. It wasn't really that impressive, but it was a step in the right direction. I feel like having this little victory definitely gave me a lot more confidence to push forward into the creative space and to start making something of my own and to stop being so nervous about what other people are going to think of me, or how I'm going to be perceived by the thousands and thousands of people that see your videos every day. Which is another reason why I wanted to to branch into long form content, because no one knows about my YouTube channel. So like I didn't really want like to start making content and then have all my family and friends see content, the while I like it's not a bad thing. I was just really nervous about it. It's like basically sitting in front of all your family and friends and literally just like presenting to them. Like I would crap myself, dude. Okay? At least I feel a little more confident and okay with, us being strangers or friendly strangers in a way where you are seeing what I am saying through the screen and relating to it. And I kind of feel a kind of vibe through the screen where you get what I'm saying, you know? But without me having to see you in person, at least anytime soon. But yeah, I was so happy that I had this little victory. And I'm so, so, so excited to continue making, content, and also taking you guys along with me while I learn and grow as a person. And hopefully we can learn and grow together, dude. Because that's what life is about. If you're not learning or growing, what are you doing, man? It's kind of pointless if you're not, learning and growing in some type of capacity. And I feel like there's a lot of things that I have learned recently that I cannot wait to share with you guys. Um, I'm gonna check the time right now because I don't want it to be too short, but I do feel like I've been rambling for a minute. Is that 40 minutes? Oh my god! That was 40 minutes! I cannot believe that! Okay. I was reading the script back to myself, and it was only 5 minutes long, and I was like, well, guess I'm ready to start. And I was nervous that I was just gonna be talking for like 15 minutes. And I knew like I was starting a podcast to not be too like timestamps, but I didn't want it to be 15 minutes. So, I was like, I hope I at least get to like 20 minutes, but 40 minutes, look at me. What a podcaster. Well, thank you guys so much for watching this 40 minutes. Wow, I can't believe that I did that. And I can't believe you stayed through. Thank you so much. And I hope to see you guys in the next many, many podcast episodes, okay? Um, I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. Thank you so much for sharing this victory of my very first episode, making my logo. Okay? And I look forward to seeing you guys very, very soon. Thank you. Bye.